So in my previous video, we took a look at a bare bones AMD system. That system was running a A10 5800K, an ASRock FM2 85X Extreme 6 motherboard, a 530 watt RaidMax RX 530 SS power supply, and this is the RaidMax Smilodon case. So, like I said in that video, this was the first case that I really fell in love with, the first case that I really thought looked nice. Now with things like the Parvum S2 and now the Parvum S2.5, nice acrylic, really nice high-end cases, this case is really cheap. But the socket 775 build, the one we built in November, I believe, is when I uploaded. November or December is when I uploaded those videos. That system was meant to go in this case, but it was too expensive. I was not going to shell out 90 bucks for a case, especially because I was in debt with my friends for a while there, buying the power supply and graphics card off my friend. So I settled on a cheap case once I paid him back, of course, and that was the Deepcool Tesseract, and that's what the system has been running in for the past little while. So upon getting this new AMD hardware, I want that Deepcool Tesseract case to be for my high-end machine until I get something even better than that. So in this video, I am going to be rebuilding the 775 gaming build in this case. So, something that I really like about this case is the fact that if we turn it around, as I hit something on my KVM switch, let me zoom out a little bit, we can indeed lower the graphics card, the motherboard tray. So let's zoom in a tiny bit right there and just start building. So I can remove the whole motherboard tray, not off the side panel as well, but I really don't feel like doing that. So the first thing I'm going to do is pop in the I/O shield, which is a bit tricky to get in sometimes. I think that's it. Let me double check. You guys cannot see what I'm doing, obviously. Just bear with me for a few moments as I insert the I/O shield and no doubt damage my Apple keyboard in the process, so you can indeed see it is installed. So now as I sit back down again, I'm going to slide in the motherboard, which is not the easiest thing to get in on this case. So of course this is the second take of this video because my camera decided it would stop recording when I was replacing the thermal compound on the heatsink that I just nailed with my screwdriver. I didn't mean to hit it like that. That is just what happened. But I was replacing the thermal compound because it's pretty old. Basically, the story behind that is I did take this machine apart, and I have taken this machine apart many times. And so what happened was, when I cleaned off the thermal compound, I just decided to literally rip apart one of my servers, not the Xserve, by the way, one of my other Windows other servers. And what I did with that was, because I did replace the thermal compound on all of those, I just ripped it apart, took literally a Lego brick and scraped thermal compound off those CPUs, and then wiped it onto the processor on this motherboard, which is of course my Core 2 Duo. And yes, that was a horrible idea. It got the job done to some extent from what I can understand, which is pretty good, I guess. So there you go. So I did replace the thermal compound on here with more Arctic Silver 5 that I got in the mail this morning. So it's pretty cool. It's a bit sad that I have to retake this video because it is in fact 6 o'clock right now. It is just turned 6:01 as I struggle to install this last, or not this last screw necessarily, but this screw. And I'm just gonna pop it in over here. And it's now stuck in the Northbridge heatsink. Gotta love when that happens. So I'll just have to remove that. Yeah, great. Where the heck it got stuck in there, I don't know. But yeah, I'll get it when it falls out. So next thing I want to do is plug in the front audio. So I'm gonna plug that in down there. You guys can't see what I'm doing. I'm sure I'm probably blocking it like I always do. But I'm going to just weave this cable throughout the motherboard, throughout various capacitors and things sticking up on the board, so it just stays down there. And my neighbors are screaming. Great, great. I'm filming. They probably saw me filming out the window because that's how my desk is arranged, and they probably think I'm recording them. I hope that never happens because no one would believe me when I say I do this. Anyway, I don't film my neighbors, by the way. I would never do something like that. That's weird, and no offense to the people who do film their neighbors. I'm just not one of them. Anyway, so on that note, the motherboard is installed, and the graphics card is installed, and it's keeping the audio plug, or the audio cable, under it. So yeah, now that we're done with that, I will get a nice close-up on these bottom connectors right here, and kind of fix that up. So you can see the light from my phone as well while I plug these in. So you can see right here we have a power switch, and there is a little thing down here on the board that shows me which is which is pretty cool. When I can see what it is, because my vision's really bad and it really depends on the lighting and the angle of which I look at it. So, of course, there is no power LED for this case because it just runs it off of the 12-volt rail. Which is pretty cool, I guess, but yeah, I don't have like sleep mode functionality for that. And I had turned off the camera when I realized I didn't plug in the front USB. So of course, let me just pop that into front USB 1 on the board. And we are sorted. Also, I have some fan cables and Molex connectors that I want to get plugged in. So I'm going to just plug the front fans together, and so something about cheap Molex connectors that really annoys me is they never go together properly because the pins are always bent or not in line with each other. So also I'm just going to plug in my SATA cable to that on the board. And there we go, sorted. So you can see that just goes back there over to the side panel area. Hint, hint. So you guys may or may not be able to have, or may or may not have a good angle on what I'm doing here. But last thing I want to install, or no, one of the last things I want to install is the power supply. So I'm just going to slide it in there and let it kind of dangle while I put in the topmost screw, and that will help me, that will basically hold it in. Obviously, it's a screw going into a power supply. I don't know why I said that, but let me grab my other screw, and there's 2 more that I need, which I got one of them out of, or I got the one out of the Northbridge heatsink, by the way, and that's what I'm using to install power supply. So, power supply is in, and now I'm going to pan down a little bit and zoom out, and you can see out my window. So I'm probably blocking the shot, but you can see I just unlatched the back of the case, and that is so I can easily feed my 24-pin and my 4-pin power connectors to the motherboard, which are now plugged in. So, now that that is done, I am once again going to pan down even more and focus on this area. So what we're going to be doing, of course, is, if you remember back to the videos of me building the original system, I modified the power connectors here. So this one is 12 volts, and this one I thought was 7 volts, but ended up being 5 volts. So the side panel fan on this case is really loud, so I'm going to go ahead and plug that into the 5 volt on the power supply. So, that will indeed, see, this is what I'm talking about. You can see it's not fitting together. So I have to kind of like move the wires in an inverted fashion to kind of finagle it into the female connector. There we go, there's one sorted. And then also, of course, here is my 12 volt side of the equation, and yeah, I said that, and I'm gonna plug that into the other fans. So, yeah, that's sorted. So there's one last thing, and that's one of them, arguably the most important part of the computer, and that's the hard drive. So, right here, this is where we, yeah, right there, that's where we mount it. However, I do have the proper hardware to mount it, but I'm too lazy to fiddle with it, and I don't think my SATA cables would reach, especially the power supply. So you can see where I have tape in my hand, and you can see where I have aimed the tripod, and when I was talking about the power supply, I said something about the side panel, if I do remember correctly. So yes, I am going to be taping the hard drive to the side panel, because why the heck not? Yeah, this is what happens when you're lazy. And this is the third case this system has been in its lifetime. The first one being a plastic bin. So, yeah, you can't get mad at me for this one. Well, you could, and I don't really mind, but you can see hard drive is now mounted, and it is crooked, so there you go, mounted. If I had Velcro, I'd use Velcro, but I don't have Velcro, so I'm not going to use Velcro. And yeah, you can, if we now pan up and zoom out. So now, we are going to plug it in and test it. Let me grab the proper power cable. So, That little cut, my SD card was running out. It didn't run out, but I knew it was running out, and I had about 1.5 minutes left of recording time, so I just swapped in another 16 gig that is completely erased. So if we go ahead and plug it in, listen to how quiet the system is. So the loudest fan in here is the power supply fan, from what I understand, from what I can hear, which is awesome, because this thing is so quiet. And keep in mind, the front and rear fans are plugged into 12-volt rails, or are plugged into the 12-volt, and this is plugged into 5-volt, of course. And that's amazing how quiet this is. So, like I said, I think I said this at least, this is going to be my computer for like GIMP projects for school and everything. Yeah, I could use my Mac, but I really don't want to use my Mac for something like that. It's like my thing, you know, I don't have Windows on my Mac, I don't have school assignments on my Mac, it's just a disgrace. I don't know, I don't like school. I feel like I could be applying myself to better things than the busy work they give us and stuff like that. That's a whole rant for another time that I probably won't ever say, because it's not important, it's just I'm opinionated about things like that. The environment's really not that good. So anyway, this system is now in its new home, and hopefully its last home. Yeah, so I'm gonna hard shut down the poor thing. And unplug it. And I love doing that. They just kind of turn on and turn off. So the system is just sitting under my desk booting. Indeed plugged into the KVM and connected to my monitor. So of course, Gigabyte S series EP35C-DS3R motherboard. Yeah, so it does that still, but no matter. The system does work. Let's go for it again. As it gets very dark outside. It's a beautiful day. That's what I was saying about it being 6 o'clock. The lighting is fading away. If I didn't say that already, but so yeah, seems to be working fine. Of course, we need to boot it into safe mode during the turn on because it is a computer. So /windows/syswow64/speedfan.sys. Full of viruses, no doubt, but just the way that it's nested itself in that file system looks horrible, but maybe it just does that to control the fans. The application didn't even work, but there we go. So it does indeed work at a stretched resolution from what I can see. Maybe it's because the USB isn't plugged in or something with the KVM, I don't know. But that is indeed going to sort it for this video. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope my computer enjoys its new home, as my higher end computer is moving into its previous home. So yeah, next video should be either fixing my dad's MacBook Pro, not graphics, just replacing the battery, or it might actually be building the new gaming rig. So yeah, like I said, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in whatever the next video is, because I have a bunch of new equipment now. Anyway, see ya.